Hello and welcome back to the Lutheran Witness podcast, where we read for you the articles published on the Lutheran Witness website. That's witness.lcms.org. Take a look at that. Also, when you head over there, make sure you enter the Letter to the Editor contest by writing a comment on one of the articles published this month. Follow our standard guidelines, 150 words. Leave your name, city where you live, and your email address. And if you win, you could win, or if you win the contest, you will win a Lutheran Witness coffee mug, coaster, battery pack, Lutheran coffee, and so much more. So Lutheran Witness Letter to the Editor contest over at witness.lcms.org. We also want to give a special thank you to our podcast partners, kfuo.org. Christ for you, anytime, anywhere. Head over there, kfuo.org. We want to thank them for their support. Our article today is by Dr. Jean Edward Vieth, and it is titled Prospects for a Coronavirus Awakening. He writes, with one of the lowest rates of church attendance in Europe, Great Britain is highly secularized. But during the COVID-19 shutdown, 1 in 4 Brits tuned into an online service. The percentage of young adults who did so was even higher at 1 in 3. The surge in online attendance was broad-based, with 70% of churches reporting higher numbers. Over 50% of churches reported an increased number of people inquiring about Jesus Christ and exploring Christianity. So reports British evangelical Adrian Warnock, who says of virtual worship, quote, many who would never darken the door of a church will attend virtually because there is no embarrassment and no chance of a Christian handshake, or worse yet, for shy people, a hug. Many people are experiencing Christian worship, preaching, and some form of fellowship for the first time ever. Some may have never stepped foot into a church building in their whole lives. End quote. But Warnock credits the coronavirus epidemic itself for the secularists' new interest in the church. Quote, churches are seeing firsthand the challenges of this corona crunch is causing. People who were complacent about spiritual matters before are shaken now. Economic problems means family problems. They mean people struggling to put food on their plates, and they mean people in need of compassion, practical help, and even more importantly, hope. Close quote. Warnock is calling these developments a COVID-19 revival. The data is still out on the impact of the pandemic on churches in the United States. Great Britain's extremely low church attendance means that even minor increases will seem dramatic. It is doubtful that a COVID-19 revival will turn the tide of secularism. Still, Warnock is onto something. Anecdotally, a number of LCMS congregations are seeing more people visiting their streaming services than typically attend in person on Sunday mornings. And though online services are a pale substitute for in-person gatherings around the Word and Sacrament, the Internet is conveying proclamations of God's Word and is showing people on the outside what worship looks like. And there can be no doubt the coronavirus epidemic has unsettled Americans as a whole. One scholarly explanation for the rise of secularism is that when societies enjoy great security and prosperity, their perceived need for God diminishes. They feel they are doing just fine without Him. Some Christian writers refer to this as carnal security, feeling so secure in the flesh that they are oblivious to their sinful condition and their need for Christ. COVID-19 has taken away people's security. The normal activities that have been the source of satisfaction and pleasure, socializing, shopping, winning and dining, traveling, going to a movie or a ball game, working, have suddenly become perceived as dangerous. The economic shutdown has dashed the prosperity of millions of Americans. Above all, the pandemic is forcing people to face death. They might die, and our advanced medical science so far seems unable to save them. Or they might inadvertently cause the death of someone else just by breathing on them, an overwhelming responsibility. No wonder some people are reconsidering their secularism. What they need, of course, is not just generic hope and encouragement, but law and gospel. Whether the epidemic will create a widespread reaction against secularism remains to be seen, but Christians should be on the lookout for individuals who are shaken out of their carnal security and may be ripe for evangelism. Thank you for listening to this article by Dr. Jean Edward Vieth, titled Prospects for a Coronavirus Awakening, the Lutheran Witness podcast, where we help you interpret the world from a Lutheran perspective.